The CEO of one of the biggest real estate companies just said this.
It's actually a great time to be a buyer. You have inventory at 5-year highs. The inventory over the year has been flat year over year in terms of price, while wages growth has gone up 4%. Mortgage rates are 50 basis points less than they were this time last year. So affordability is actually
really high.
They are still just under 7%. Yeah. We would like them to be in the low 6s. I would love for it to be in the high 5s. I think when you get to high 5s, you'll be back at mid-cycle transaction levels. But overall, it's a better time to be a buyer than it was last year.
And in the interview, he was basically saying three things. In 2025, we are seeing increase in the number of homes on the market. We're seeing a decline in the home prices from the peaks of 2022. And we are seeing lower mortgage rates than we did see 1 year ago. But is this all true for San Diego? That's what we're going to dive into today and give you some real insight into the San Diego real estate market. So let's get into it right now. All right, and he was talking on the national level, which we're looking at right here. The active listing count was 959,000 according to Realtor.com, which has been the highest number we have seen since the last 5 years. But is that true for the San Diego real estate market? So as we are going down to inventory, so the number of homes on the market. Right here, I mentioned it in the few past videos where we're seeing a big jump in inventory. Compared to last year, right now we are at 3,263. This little dot right here is last year, 2,111. The prior year, you can see every single June for the past 5 years has been below this number. Right here, we did have a little bit more in July of 2022, but we still have a few months to get to this peak. So in July 2022, there was over 3,300 homes on the market, and we are quickly approaching that right now in San Diego. So as this number grows, yes, it does become a little bit easier for home buyers to purchase a home. And with more homes on the market here in San Diego, that means you are getting more choices out there. There's more homes to choose from. We're not in such of a frenzied market that we did see in years past. And for sellers, we're seeing a little bit longer market times, and the list to sales price is actually a little bit below 100 right now, where in years past, it went all the way up to 106 or so, give or take. Some homes were selling for a well above list price, but every home, it seemed like every home, sold very quickly. And we have a few listings out there right now, and we're noticing as well that yes, there's fewer showings. There are fewer offers. There are a little bit longer market times. And the homes that we have on the market right now are priced correctly compared to what other homes have sold for in the market, but there's just a little softer than it has been in years past. And it's not to say that homes aren't selling, because we're looking at the hot sheets all day. We're looking at what's coming on the market, what's pending, what's sold, and we're still seeing like a lot of homes go off within that first 2 weeks. So there are still times here in San Diego where homes are selling quickly. It's really just dependent on price, location, and all those other factors when people are looking out at homes. Like according to Redfin right here, you can see that nearly 40% of homes are off the market in 2 weeks. That's below the peaks that we did see up here in 2022 when it was well over 50%, but there are still homes that are selling relatively quickly. But all in all, we're seeing a much slower market than we have in the past. And here is comparing the number of home sellers out there to home buyers over these past handful of years. And according to a Redfin analysis published on Thursday in April 2025, there were nearly 490,000 more U.S. home sellers than home buyers. That's the most home sellers have outmatched home buyers in over a decade. For comparison, at the height of the pandemic boom in April 2022, there were 436,106 more U.S. home buyers than sellers. And that's all reflected on this chart right here. As we're going through during this time right in here, you can see during pandemic boom in 2020, 2021, 2022, going about till where interest rates did jump, there was a lot more home buyers out there. These last few years, it's been somewhat even, and now we have seen quite the divergence in the number of home sellers out there compared to home buyers out there. But where does San Diego rank in all that? Are we in a buyer's market? Are we in a seller's market? Right now, you can see, look at some of these where the difference between home sellers and home buyers is huge. We're looking at, in Miami, Florida, almost a 200% difference. But as we go down, you're going to see San Diego popping up down here. And right here, San Diego, they are saying, is in a buyer's market. The number of home sellers is 7,728 compared to home buyers. There's about a 14% difference. There's more home sellers right now than home buyers. So in that first point, yes, there are more homes on the market than there have been in years past. And Robert Reffkin said that you can't buy what's not for sale. And right now we are seeing more homes for sale. The next point that he did mention is declining home prices. And here is the national level where home prices, this is the median list price. So median list price is obviously going to be different than sales price, but usually if median list price is down overall, you're going to see the sales price be down overall as well. So our home prices down here in San Diego. Here is the median sales price in San Diego County through the Redfin data center. And you can see all these lines down here at the bottom. You have 2023, 2022, as we go up last year of 2024. And right now in 2025, the median sales price, $936,000, which is up 2% year over year. You've seen it been going kind of sideways here for the past few months with a little bit of tick up. And usually you'll see it kind of go up because this is the time when you see the most home buyers out there. Usually in the spring going into summertime, more buyers will push the price up a little bit. But we are below the peak of last year of $950,000. Now we're still creeping up a little bit. We still have the last year data point was starting, they're running like a 4-week average here, was the end of May through the end of June. So we still have some time and we will continue to monitor where that ends up. But like I mentioned here, we are right below average sale to list price, right below that 100%. So the 99.376% is what they're showing here on Redfin. And we are definitely below where we were last year. Not too terribly much, but you can see a little bit here. Definitely below 2023 and then well below where we were in 2022. So the peak of 2022, this was almost 106%. Multiple offers, bidding up the price, making the home prices here in San Diego not only go up, but sell for well over list price. And here's the 30-day median price tracked weekly. We did peak right here last year of June, kind of that end of or mid-June going into July, where it did get around the 925 mark, came down, and we've just been tracking along here. So we haven't seen a big uptick like we did back here where we saw a nice rise. It's just been kind of going sideways, a little bit of a downturn here as we're going into the mid part of May. That's when this data stops. So yes, here in San Diego, we have seen a definite change since last year where we're seeing longer market times, homes are sitting a little bit longer, and buyers are having a little bit more room to negotiate. And Robert Reffkin also mentioned that he expects home prices to stay flat or potentially go down slightly by the end of 2025. And Redfin is predicting a 1% price drop by the end of 2025, and Zillow saying a 1.4% drop. Now, this is for national, so the San Diego market is definitely going to be different, but we are going to likely see a little bit more softness in the market. Now, the third point he mentioned was lower interest rates compared to last year. I'm gonna bring up the chart real quick here in a sec and show you where they do compare to last year, because honestly, it's not much different. I think he said 0.5% maybe when they made that video. It was, maybe they're looking at different numbers. All of these numbers that we're looking at too, like the Redfin numbers are different than the Realtor.com numbers, are different than the National Association of Realtor numbers. So it really depends on where they are pulling the data, but usually all the trends are going to be very similar. All right, so we're looking at the last year right here for mortgage rates. And one real quick thing on mortgage rates. If you guys are looking for houses and you want to know your exact situation, feel free to reach out. We can start that conversation and hook you up with our preferred lender and just ask questions, start that conversation and get your actual rate, because it could definitely vary. This is just taking an average. This is taking in specific credit scores, specific qualifications. So your rate can definitely be below this. It could be above this. It could be right around here. But either way, you want to start that conversation so you know where you actually fall in here. But right here, it's saying in June 3rd, 2025, Mortgage News Daily is having it at just shy of 7%, 6.96%. Where we were 1 year ago was 7.07%. So yeah, we're slightly down, even though last week right here, or 2 weeks ago, we were at 7.07%, so a bit off of that. but we are not where we were back here in September, where we went down to the 6 range. Once you start getting into here and you see these big drops, you'll see more demand out there, more buyers jump into the market as they are seeing these rates. How long are they going to stay there? We don't know, so let's get in. And then you can see jumped up very quickly thereafter. So are we down compared to last year? Yes, but not a ton. Once we, like I said, once we start getting into this 6% or sub 6% range, I think that'll have a significant change on the market where we do see more buyers come out there. Because right now, affordability is one of the biggest things keeping buyers out of the market, where once you see rates drop, it increases their ability to be comfortable with their monthly payments. And so as the rates fall, you're going to see more people get into the market. So it is now a good time to buy a house in San Diego. And it really comes down to your specific situation. Yeah, compared to the last few years, we are seeing less demand out there. We're seeing less people out there, which means less competition for you. We are seeing more choices for homes. Mortgage rates are relatively the same. Prices aren't going too much higher or too much lower than they have been over these past few months. So we're not seeing a big drop off in prices, but it really comes down to your situation. So if you guys want to start that conversation and figure out if now is the right time to buy a home for you, maybe it's now, maybe it's next year, maybe it's even longer than that. We would love to earn your business and start that conversation. And you could reach out, call, text, or email because we got your back when making the move here in San Diego.